Hi, this is Chris Burton from Newfangled Opera, and I'm here today with Jennifer Jolley. She's a composer. She wrote Krispy Kremes and Butter Queens, and we're excited about putting that on this coming June. Welcome, Jennifer.
Hi, thanks for having me here.
Not a problem at all. I want to start a little bit, if you could tell us a little bit about your musical background and how you became interested in composition.
Okay, well, I started off as a kid playing the piano, and I think ultimately the reason why I went into composition is because I wasn't really good at practicing the piano. What I would do instead was I would play some Mozart or I'd play some Beethoven and I'd get bored and then I'd start to improvise, and I didn't realize that was composing, and so therefore I grew up thinking that I had no original ideas in music. And it wasn't until I was in high school where I thought, oh, I think it'd be really cool to write for films. And so that idea stuck in my head, and I started actually writing stuff down on paper, which is hard at first because I was lazy and I just wanted to play around on the piano. But, eventually I got my start there and I decided to major in music composition. So went to USC for my undergrad and later on Cincinnati, and I've been composing music ever since.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, that's it's interesting how a lot of people start that way.
It's true.
Yeah. But that's cool. So your work that we're doing, Krispy Kremes and Butter Queens, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it started when the Atlanta Opera had this program called the 24-Hour Opera Project. And it was kind of crazy because they're like, you get to write an opera in 24 hours. And I thought it would be really fun. So I applied for it, and they asked me to drive down to Atlanta and create an opera in 24 hours, or at least have the composers and librettists work together for 12 hours as an overnighter and then produce it in 12 hours after that. So the idea came when Vinnie Melly and I were paired together. It's kind of this reality TV show setup of, okay, here are 5 composers and here are 5 librettists, and you don't know who you're going to be with, and you're going to pick up a bag or a box and it's going to have your prop. So we meet, we get paired together, we see headshots of our singers, we're like, all right, this is crazy, we have to write an opera in 12 hours, all right, and we had to incorporate 2 props. And what we got were, I think I got a block of cheese and she got a rolling pin, and I think we looked at each other and said, well, I guess it has to be in the kitchen, and we're trying to brainstorm ideas. And I remember at the time, Vinny's like, okay, let's check out the costumes and the props. I want to, I think she wanted to be further inspired because, writing an opera that just takes place in the kitchen, I mean, that's great, but, what's the action? And she saw an angel harp and she said, oh, maybe somebody could die in the kitchen. I'm like, I watch Food Network. I mean, I see all this stuff on Iron Chef, people slicing their fingers open, and we're brainstorming further. And then I felt really awful for saying this, and I said, what if Paula Deen dies? And I felt like an evil person because I would come home and just watch Paula Deen as soon as I got off, from my classes, and just, watch her say, hi, y'all! And she's just so silly and so fun, and here I'm like, she dies in our opera by choking on a Krispy Kreme donut. And I felt really evil for saying that, but, we kind of worked with it. And, Vinny came up with the story that, okay, so she dies and she's trying to get into the afterlife, but she can't get in because she wasn't supposed to die, and her foods are just really buttery and fatty, and they taste oh so good and very sinful in a way. So we got that, and I said, Vinny, as long as I'm able to write a butter aria, I just want to write a butter aria. She's like, you'll get one. I said, okay. So that's how the opera started. Just us brainstorming and being part of the Atlanta Opera 24-Hour Opera Project.
Excellent.
It's fun.
Excellent, yeah. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot about that 24-hour project. It sounds like a lot of fun. A lot of work.
It is.
Yeah. Okay, so now you work with your own opera company, Nanoworks, up in Cincinnati. So tell me a little bit about that. How did that come about?
Well, actually, my original librettist came with me to kind of we road tripped it down to Atlanta, and we realized there was a lot of success in this 24-hour opera project where you just put together 5 operas in the evening. It's a lot of fun. The audience really enjoyed it. There's standing room only. But also we were noticing that, like, as a composer and librettist team, it's really hard for us to get our operas performed. You know, there isn't much of a venue. You can't necessarily knock on the door of a large opera company and be like, hi, can you stage our half-hour-long opera? It just wasn't going to happen. And so we wanted to start an opera company to aid composers and librettists and singers and kind of get their dramatic chops up to par, and also bring something to the community that could be easily transportable and short. So people who have no experience with opera can sit through, like, maybe one that's a half an hour or shorter, and we're like, this is opera. You have the same operatic singing. You know, in the opera Krispy Kremes and Butter Queen, someone dies. That's very operatic, right? So, you know, and something that's sung in English. So we want to bring something that's a little bit more approachable for those who wouldn't think they would like opera in the first place.
Yeah. Sounds a lot like our program.
Yes. So I'm very excited about it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sitting here and interviewing with me. Again, this is Jennifer Jolley. We're going to be doing her opera Krispy Kremes and Butter Queens at our newfangled Festival of Opera, June 7th and 8th at the UNO Performing Arts Center. So please come by and see us. Thanks a lot, Jennifer.
Thank you. Bye.